Care has been a ministry of St. Andrew's Covenant since either 92 or 93, and it was the brainchild of Bill Lyles and Joe Mitchell, and they started it with the idea of helping the elderly and the widows with repair projects, and they got started on a job that took them 2 days a week for 3 months. And they kind of realized that they were over their head in terms of how many projects they could do and the scope of what they ought to be doing. So they narrowed it and decided that Shelter Care would focus on building wheelchair ramps for those people that simply can't afford them. We build somewhere between 12 and 15 ramps a year. Being able to escape or getting out of your house when you want to and not depending on the paramedics to take you out. Probably the neatest story I can tell, and that is we built a ramp fairly close to the church, and we got done with the ramp. The person for whom we were building it came out and onto the deck and on the ramp and whizzed down the ramp, turned the corner, and was gone. And as she went down the ramp, she said, "Free at last, thank God I'm free at last."
This is a way to make my faith, my Christian faith, larger. We talk about growing in Christ. And it's like a lot of other things. You're either growing or you're not growing. You're getting larger, stronger, or you're getting weaker and smaller. It's like a muscle.
I get a tremendous amount of satisfaction and a good feeling out of providing something that these people can't afford, that we can, and that we're willing to do, and be part of our call to Christ.
It gives me a means of using the knowledge that I have, the talents that God gave me.
If I read the newspaper and watch TV and see what all's going on in the world and see the chaos and the tragedies of every day, it is so easy to get really depressed about the state of the world and the state of humanity and our culture. And by doing this shelter care work, I can feel the joy of the uplifting Christian spirit.
When we're building a ramp, not only do I think we are helping the people physically, but I hope that they are seeing that here's a group of Christian people who are actually living their faith, and I hope this is it might make a change in their attitudes also about life and spirituality.
In thinking about how being involved in shelter care has changed me, Tom Harris, it gives me a verification of the joy of Christ in my life. There are a lot of ways to get the joy of Christ in my life, but going out and working with my hands and seeing this profound change in the lives of other people. You remember the song, Let Others See Jesus in You? Well, that is exactly what this is about, and I feel this every time I'm building a ramp. And it's a very, very special thing to feel.
Years ago, when I first became an adult, I guess, and I sort of had the idea that if you're going to make a contribution or do something, it had to be something that you really didn't want to do. It had to be a real chore to do it, and if it wasn't a real chore to do it, then you haven't done anything. But you know, I have completely changed my mind.
I feel blessed that I'm able to do this. I feel that this is a gift that I'm able to give back for all the wonderful things I've enjoyed in my life, and this is just a small way of doing our what I think is our obligation to help folks that can't help themselves.
If God gave me a talent and I just ignore it or let it die, then I am the one of the recipients who buried it, as I recall.
We talk about life and death, and if you're not into creating life. You're in the process of creating death in a Christian sense. And through the shelter care work, and this is just one of dozens and dozens of examples in our church. Through the shelter care work, we are very much in the process of creating life. And through my interaction with these other men, my faith in a very real sense is growing in Christ. Being a Christian is a lot more about about a lot more things than just going to heaven.
We feel great about what we do. We're glad to be able to do it. We feel blessed that we're in a part of a congregation that thinks this is important enough to support on an annual basis.
After it was built, he came out to go to a doctor's appointment like we usually do, and he said, "We're not going down the steps." I said, "No, baby, we have a ramp." And he smiled, and he was so happy.